No, I didn't quit Harry Potter. I'm just playing PowerWash tonight. I'm probably going to play Harry Potter tomorrow. I'm a variety streamer. I don't play just one game all the time. And there's new content in PowerWash, so I got to check it out. Hello. How you doing?
Lick.
Okay.
What's up?
All right. Just sounding the alarm all across the internet that I am live.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Time to boot up PowerWash for the first time in quite a while. I think a person's experience with a certain fan base is always going to be narrow.
Negative. Oh.
Like, because there's only so many people that you're going to be able to meet in your life. Some of them are going to be fine, some of them are going to not be fine, but it's kind of hard to correlate it directly to one particular fan base for everyone. Okay, so it looks like now they have a career mode and a specials mode. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, a fan base is a very large thing. And it's, oh, well, how about that?
Okay, so it doesn't
Jesus.
look like they're in the continue area. There's anything new to do. So what we have would be the specials, which is the Mars rover, the gnome fountain, the mini golf course, and the steam locomotive. Oh yeah, basically it looks like what we have are the bonus jobs. Wait a minute. Did it reset all the power washers I have?
Yes,
Wait, are you serious?
probably.
Hold on one second here, guys. Huh. Maybe because they're bonus jobs, we have to start over. Whatever. I'm just gonna go in and then open it up to a co-op.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Feel free to join whenever you want to.
You know, I'm really a big fan of the Avatar: The Last Airbender series.
Yeah.
And I'm not as big of a fan of Legend of Korra, because watching all that while it was coming out, they made a lot of missteps in their production of the show. I felt was really annoying because even though they got to go as far as they wanted to, It was a season by season basis, and they never knew ahead of time if Nickelodeon was actually going to renew the story or the show. I mean, so what they did with every single season is that they tried to just make a completely new self-contained story and then wrap everything up, which is good generally. However, what they did, because they're lazy, is they basically just recycled the same thing that the character had to do, uh, what it was that she went through, how she grew as a person. She just everything basically got etch a sketched, and then she just go through the same journey again. So it never actually felt like the character development was going anywhere,
Yeah, I think a lot of works of
which
fiction
was
do
really
things like that.
say again.
A lot of works of fiction have that problem. They call it
Yeah, and it
Aesop amnesia.
yeah, and it was just really disappointing because like you know that meme where you've got like the three different sections of intelligence, and it's a bell curve where
Right.
the retard and the genius agree, even though they have different reasons. They're both on the same page, and then it's the midwit who is like completely wrong.
Yeah.
Is the way that I feel about it, because like a lot of retards sit there and say, "Well, Legend of Korra is not as good because we wanted Aang," and it's all like, "Well, that's not the reason it's not good, but you're correct. It's not good." And then the midwits are the ones who are like, no, Cora's wonderful because she's lesbian and that's wonderful. Yes, Queen Slay. But all that shit aside, it's just super disappointing that this was coming from the same people who made Avatar The Last Airbender, which was so good. And then now, we've got a more, young adult oriented. There's more complex themes and concepts that you can go forward with. But no, they just kept fucking shit up. But the whole reason I'm bringing all this up is like, that's a rich world with an excellent opportunity to do a lot of video game related stuff in there, and they just really don't make video games about it, which is super disappointing.
That's a good point. Maybe the success of a game like Hogwarts Legacy is going to start opening up the valve on these fantasy franchises.
I would hope so, because I mean, when you look at the way that media in general is going over the last several years, that's kind of where it's going, where they're basically leaving nothing unplumbed. They're just trying to try everything out.
Oh, and by the way,
I'm
I don't want to start cleaning until you're in here because this is small. It's not going to take very long.
Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Just so you know.
Um, and it's just it's just really disappointing. It reminds me of whatever it was you were talking about yesterday when a new Ben Affleck and Matt Damon movie.
Oh
Just
yeah, the Nike thing.
there you go, scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel. So like, you can rest assured within the next 10 or so years, they're definitely gonna make at least one new video game that has to do with that universe. It's just sad because the potential would be there to make a really excellent one,
Mm,
and they just don't wanna. What are you gonna do?
yeah. I mean, like, and it seems like any video game they made in that universe would have a stigma that it wouldn't be something to be taken seriously. Like, last month they released a One Piece video game, One Piece Odyssey, and by all accounts, the game is actually really good. But I think there's just a stigma there because it's a Japanese game. It didn't get dubbed, and you look at it and you're like, oh, this is obviously a kid's game. Just looking at it, it looks like a kid's game.
Yeah, it's just disappointing.
Hmm.
It's just disappointing. And I tell you what, there was one Legend of Korra game that came out, and I remember playing it, and I still enjoyed it, even though it was basically like an absolute hunk of crap of a game. And I still enjoyed it. So I'm sitting there like, if they actually put some effort into this fucking thing, dude, it'd be amazing. Not only that, but they went through more than enough potential storylines
Yeah, like the Lord of the Rings games they made to tie in with the movies as they were coming out. Those games weren't very good, but I still liked them.
Yeah, and that they still did a lot of things right. I was talking about this game the other day, Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Really was not popular, and yet I fucking loved it. To this day, it remains my favorite class-based with the turn-based combat
Yeah,
party-based system.
Japanese RPG.
Yeah, it remains to this day my favorite RPG of that kind. It was absolutely fantastic. I must have if they had like hour trackers back then for that kind of shit, I must have sunk over 1,000 hours in that fucking game over and over again. I loved it. I absolutely fucking loved it. So I'm sitting there like, man, it'd be fantastic if they made another game like that, and then just threw even more content and all that shit in there. Because they back in the day, they had to really rush things at the end because they were already running out of space. It was already a 2 disc game. So it was like, nowadays you could make that shit go even crazier and have all kinds of extra shit. Like, I know at the end of the day it's business and all this kind of shit, but it's like, damn, you know, there's got to be at least one thing that I like and that I enjoy that other people would also be able to enjoy that would result in me being able to catch on to this fucking thing. God damn it.
Holy shit! I didn't know I could do that. Oh, but I can't reproduce it. Oh, there we go. All right. I love it. I can launch myself because of the reduced gravity of Mars. Wait a minute. Mars and Earth are almost the same size. Mars should not have significantly less gravity. Like, this isn't the moon. So, this doesn't make any sense.
That kind of thing happens because since Mars doesn't really have much of an atmosphere,
Mhm.
certainly not on the same level as Earth, a lot of people just like, oh, well, it's in space and blah, blah, blah. It's all like if Mars didn't have gravity, it wouldn't have its own moons.
Hey, big
Whatever.
country, what's up?
Okay. I'll be there in a minute, but once I show up, I'll take a minute to just like look around at shit and then let you go wild because I still have some stuff. Trying to get food. We didn't eat.
Okay. Mars's gravity is actually way weaker than Earth's. That's interesting because isn't Mars not that different in terms of the size?
Presumably, more things would go into effect in terms of creating the gravitational pull than just size. However, size would still be relative. For instance, Jupiter's got the strongest gravity of any planet in the solar system. It's also the largest one. So, what determines a planet's gravity?
It's quite a bit smaller. Okay, am I thinking of Venus? Is Venus the one that's almost the size of Earth?
If I remember correctly, Venus is somewhat similar size to Earth also, but Earth and Mars are considered sister planets. A planet's size and mass determines its gravitational pull. A planet's mass and size determines how strong gravitational pull is. Models can help us experiment with the motions of objects in space, which determine that gravitational pull. Uh,
Wow, this update made the game way more forgiving. You know how you used to have to clean like 99% of a surface to get credit for it?
that would be why. Mars is smaller than Earth, but it's also significantly less dense. See, Mars only has 11% of Earth's mass, which means that the gravitational pull on Mars is only 38% as strong as a gravitational pull on Earth's surface.
Yeah, that makes sense. I used to know all this space stuff really
And never
well.
mind, Mars is about half the size of Earth. If Earth were the size of a nickel, Mars would be about as big as a raspberry.
Okay, I must have been thinking of Venus. Venus, I think, is almost the same size as Earth.
Yeah, okay, then it was Earth and Venus I was thinking of that are sister planets. Never mind. Well, I'm not a astrophysicist, people. I don't know this shit. Planet is nearly as big around as Earth, 7,521 miles across versus 7,926 miles for Earth. It's only 400 less miles across than Earth. About that.
Start doing some cleaning, by the way.
Venus is also closer to us than Mars is.
Mm. Hey, Silver, how you doing? I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm feeling good. Wow, the update made the game way more forgiving. That's kind of crazy. It's almost too easy now.
Well, I don't like the way that sounds.
You don't have to clean 99% of the surface anymore to get it to be clean. It's only like 90% now. It's way more forgiving. By the way, I'm already halfway done with this thing, so you might want to get in here quickly if you actually want to see the map.
Jesus.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
just the Mars rover. Like, literally, that's all we're cleaning here. It's pretty damn small.
All right. We'll be there in a second. Hold your horses. Booting the game up now. It's doing the whole.
Will evolve over time with weaker bones and muscles. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's probably the case on the moon, too, right? If you're born and raised on the moon and you go to Earth, you're going to just basically collapse in on yourself. That makes sense to me.
Yes. What's also interesting would be if you were born on a planet with a higher gravitational density than Earth's, is then you'd go to Earth and you'd be incredibly strong. That's how it worked in Dragon Ball Z. Yuck, yuck, yuck. No, I'm just kidding.
Worked with Superman, right? More or less.
Well, Superman's a different story. It wasn't that Krypton had an incredibly powerful gravitational density as opposed to Krypton had a red sun, so Kryptonians were like normal. But apparently, Kryptonians have this magical capability where when they absorb radiation from a yellow sun, and they become Superman. Which is why it was actually the greatest thing ever that Krypton fucking exploded before they started to discover this kind of thing. Otherwise, they basically would have ended up like the Viltrumites from Invincible.
Or the whatever the fucks from Battlefield Earth.
Well, like their whole thing, if I remember correctly, was just that they had advanced technology, so they used that to enslave humanity. Viltrumites and what Kryptonians would be if they hadn't been destroyed is that they'd see that when they're on a planet with a yellow sun, they become Superman. So imagine an entire planet full of Supermen. Imagine an entire alien race, billions upon billions upon billions of Supermen through the galaxy, and no one would be able to stop them.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the most frequent things that happens in fucking DC Comics lore is, oh no, Superman's gone rogue. He's deleting all the files and killing all the scientists. Remember that he used to have a regular sized penis. But then, like, Superman by himself just beats like the entire planet except Batman because Batman's magic.
Yeah. I kind of don't like how Batman always beats Superman. It's not very realistic. I think it would be more fun if Superman won sometimes.
And that's exactly what bothers me too. Like, that's why I like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. Is the concept is that being a hero went out of style because the government said enough's enough. We're going to call you guys vigilantes, and Superman sided with the government. So Batman, realizing that if he got into a fight with Superman, it'd fucking kill him, went into forced retirement. But then naturally, crime started to go back up again, and he was all like, you know what? I'm a fucking old man anyway. Let me just get back into this shit.
Oh, it looks like the game now has a save button. I see the floppy disk icon that nobody knows what that is anymore.
Cool. Um, Let me see if I can join your game. Okay, there we go.
So, if you had a baby while flying in a jet in a jet plane that was going like, past the speed of sound when you gave birth, and that jet airline just stayed at faster than the speed of sound for the entire process of that child growing up, that child would be super strong, right? Because they would have
No.
spent their whole life under.
I was like, where the hell is this going? And then you use the toilet inside of the plane that is going faster than the speed of sound, and you flush the baby out there when you're going Mach 7. For a minute there, he'd be the world's fastest baby.
Yeah. I always really liked that part of Doomsday's backstory. I thought that was cool how a scientist would just chuck him onto this really dangerous planet and then he would immediately die, and the scientist would just take his remains and recreate and clone him, and then via genetic memory, eventually he would like adapt biologically to the conditions of the planet until he could survive anything. I mean, it's stupid, but it's fun. I think that's a fun or villain origin backstory.
Yeah, I really like Doomsday too because he's incredibly super strong, and the point is you can't kill him.
Right.
Like you can make him dead, but then he'll revive somehow. He's magic, and he's like that's another nice thing I really enjoyed in the DC animated universe. Superman, he'll put people into the Phantom Zone when they're way too dangerous to actually get locked up. Um, so he hadn't done it in years and years and years, and then he actually fucking he does the shit to Doomsday, and Batman's like is like you're fucking fascist, dude. Like you just chucked that guy into your fucking little pocket dimension, never to return. That's kind of fucked up. And dude was all like, if he gets out, he's gonna kill everyone, and I can't stop him again. Batman was like, spoken like a true tyrant. Some good shit.
I don't see how Batman beats Superman. Well, Silver in The Dark Knight Returns, he waits until Superman's weakened because he had to, I think, tank like a nuclear explosion. I can't remember all the details. I haven't read it in a while. But I think he waits until Superman is weakened and then he uses kryptonite, if I recall correctly. Like, the idea with Doomsday is that every time you kill him, he adapts to whatever killed him and becomes immune to it, right? So you can't really kill him. He just keeps learning forever, right?
Yeah, he'll just continue to be impervious to whatever it was. You know, you can never beat me the same way twice. Again, drawn on the DC animated universe example, the first time that Doomsday fought Superman, it wasn't actually real Superman. It was an alternative universe Superman, where that Superman took over the planet and turned the Justice League into the Justice Lords. So Justice Lord Superman, what he did is he used his heat vision to lobotomize all the different supervillains. So then they would stop breaking out of prison and going on a crime spree and killing people. He just fucking lobotomized them. So he did that to Doomsday, and it worked. But Doomsday was picked up by Cadmus, which was a government organization which opposed the Justice League. They revived him and they made him hate Superman with every fiber of his being by brainwashing him. And then he would go to fight Superman again at some point, and Superman, being desperate because he was beaten almost to death by Doomsday, he tried to lobotomize Doomsday again. But his heat vision could no longer penetrate through the thick skull plating that Doomsday had in his forehead. And he said to Superman, "You can't beat me the same way twice." And then he just kept beating his ass. Eventually, Superman chucked him into a fucking volcano, and then Doomsday was trapped inside the magma, and he picked him up from there and transported him to the Watchtower, and then they sent him to Phantom Zone.
Yeah, this is one of the new levels. It's the Mars level, and you're cleaning the Mars rover, which is actually really small.
All right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna go get some food.
Okay. Oh, you don't need to order it tonight. Cool.
I mean, I want to, but I can't spend that kind of money. Not every day. Uh,
Is Poop Killer 4 co-op? If it's not co-op, I'm not playing it. Um, well, I don't know, Silver, but my power washing company is only going to make 15 bucks on this job, so we're getting ripped off pretty badly, but I guess it's okay. There's nothing to spend money on in this game anymore anyway. I already bought everything that I want, so the money doesn't really matter. I remember there was an XKCD comic that like anthropomorphized the Mars rover, like because famously the Mars rover was only supposed to work for like 3 months, and then it ended up working for like 10 years or whatever. And the idea was the rover thought he was going to get to go home after 3 months, and then nobody came to pick him up, so he thought maybe I didn't do a good enough job, so I just have to keep going until they'd come take me home. And the comic was just him, doing his job for, like 10 years, 10 years past his expected expiration date as a functional unit, just waiting for somebody to come pick him up and take him home until eventually his batteries run out. Well, it'll still happen eventually. I just don't know when. I don't know. That just seems really bold to me. We're really 27 years away from there being a million people living on Mars. Like, how are they going to be able to make it livable? Are they going to terraform the planet or what? I don't understand how that's. I don't feel like we're there yet. I don't think it needs to be exclusive. There's no way we get two firsts for Geno. There's no way. No team is that stupid. Bill O'Brien doesn't work in the NFL anymore. We can't use him. Or at the very least, he doesn't run a team anymore. Ain't no one that dumb. Yeah, but that never actually happens. The teams negotiate for less than two first rounders. The tag says two first rounders unless it's a trade. I remember this is what happened with like Jonathan Abraham back in the day. Jonathan Abraham got tagged. The Falcons wanted him, and they worked out a trade with the Jets so they would only give up their one first round pick instead of two to get Jonathan Abraham. Well, isn't the two first ones more expensive? And nobody's going to give up two firsts for Geno. There's no way. Like, at that point, everyone would just say, okay, we'll suck for a year and draft a quarterback. Nobody would be like, let's give up two first round picks to get Geno Smith. So that's not on the table. I would be thrilled with one first. I don't even think we're going to get that. I think we might get like 1 second plus 1/3. Like that seems about right to me. Maybe we could get one first. That's possible. Depends on where the first is. I don't think the Jets would do it for a pick in the teens, but a team like the Bucks might. Well, the Bucks can't do it because of money, right? You have to find a team that actually has kind of a low first round pick but needs Geno anyway. That's hard to do. Like the Eagles could trade Jalen Hurts and then trade for Geno, I guess, like some crazy like that. Oh, Snacks is there, clearly, or his computer just like went rogue. Not that I know of. I don't think I've gotten any thunder.
Why is it so quiet?
I'm looking at something real quick. Anyway, so the thing is now like almost 80% clean. So I kind of don't. I kind of want to stop doing it. Oh, okay. You're here. Okay.
Wait, what? Why?
I didn't want to do the whole thing, and then you just load in
Oh,
and like it's done. I thought
oh.
that would be rude.
Are we replaying a map, or did they do another
No,
one of
this
these?
is new. This is a special. We've never done it before.
Remember doing a Mars landing? I might have done this on my own, and this might have been a different category. It wasn't part of the main quest thing. So
Yeah, I'm pretty positive I've never done it before anyway. So, who would you say is your favorite DC character?
question.
Question.
Yes.
Hmm. I don't know too much about him.
He doesn't have any superpowers at all. He's just a very, very good detective. And he's just you might have seen him before. He's the man with no face who wears a blue
Oh,
overcoat. And, yeah.
yeah, I know who that is. I find it amusing that we apparently went to another planet to clean this thing, and the whole job is only going to give us 15 bucks.
Yeah. I'm gonna say because you know that the government already spent like $1 trillion on this entire mission just to send us here,
Yeah.
even counting the robot and all that shit. So only seeing 15 bucks in profit is pretty sad.
One of these wheel hubs is not clean. Oh, I think I found it. Ugh.
It's supposed to be all of it, right?
Yeah. It's time to put the water on Mars to good use as the rover needs a clean.
It's
All
pretty good.
right.
You all pretty good.
Okay, I for some reason the special missions force you to only have certain equipment when you do it. So
Yeah,
like,
I was just noticing that. I was like, why do I only have the Prime Vista 1500?
okay. So let's just go ahead and start this one.
Holy shit! What am I holding in my hands?
The Urban X.
The Urban Falcon.
Yeah. They originally called it the Black X, but then realized they couldn't do that. Wow.
You say that he's black?
Okay, this is going to take a while.
Well, I never understood the term "people of color." The difference between that and saying "colored people."
Yeah.
Saying "colored people" is offensive, but "people of color" is the preferred nomenclature.
And
And somebody said to me once, it's because you're putting the people before the color, and that's why it's better. And I was like, well, then why don't we refer to white people as people without color?
but white is a color.
That's a good point, too.
Be right back, guys. 1 second. Okay. All right. Well, at least this update, by the way, did you notice it didn't reset the volume? So that was nice, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, randomly today, I was reading about Jim Jones. And he's always been a guy who's kind of fascinated me, but every now and then, you forget stuff. So you go
Mhm.
back and read the stuff that you're already somewhat familiar with. And, just reading this stuff, it just kind of really makes me think because the way he starts out, the reason why he got popular was because he formed a church that was so focused on civil rights and racial equality. Like that's how he got big initially. That's how he got popular. And then he, just slowly starts to move towards where he started to move. Where okay, and then he became a socialist, then he became a communist, then he started to, basically sell himself as a magician. Like he would stage all these, phony healing, faith-based healing ceremonies
Mhm.
to, convince people that at one point he actually thought that he was the reincarnation of nation of Jesus. Then he convinces all these people to move to South America with him. And, he's, the whole time he's, it's not even like modern day. He is very openly saying, communism is amazing. I base all my life philosophy off of Lenin and the guy after Lenin. Fuck. The guy who took over for Lenin. What the fuck? Uh,
Stalin.
Thank you, Stalin. Right. I don't know why that one slipped my mind for a second there. And he basically says, "Come with me to Guyana, and it'll be a utopia based purely on these communist teachings." And then you go there, and like all there is to eat is rice. Some people only get to eat like one egg a day. Like, and people are literally working 16 hours a day to make this place work. And it just kind of makes me think, it feels like today, like people still fall for that stuff almost. It almost feels like people would still just fall for that stuff today. Like you didn't really learn that much
Yeah.
from it.
Well, a big reason that folks aren't learning from the Jim Jones experience is because, and this is part of the history that nobody's ever going to talk to you about, he was really close personal friends with President Carter's wife.
Yes, he was. I read that too.
So when that whole fucking thing happened, old Jimmy tried to do literally everything he could to get as much of that shit that could blow back on him hushed up as possible. So everyone just talked about, oh wow, that cult shit's just really weird. I can't believe it. And then, that became the whole fucking thing there instead of being, oh hey, he managed to sucker a lot of young folks into believing in this cult thing because he also turned it into some sort of weird fucking hippie commune kind of shit. It's not the part that people want to bring up
Like
because we have
nowadays,
something of our own cult going on these days that people don't want to fucking.
like nowadays, I don't think you could do that. I don't think you could say, "Hey, come live with me in this communist paradise." I do think that for the vast majority of people, communism is still a no-no word. But back then, it seemed like it actually had an effect. But the point is still the same. Like, here's a guy who actually tried to create that commune in America, couldn't do it. So he was like, well, it's obviously America's fault. So I'm going to go do it in South America. And he still couldn't do it. And it ended up with literally everyone dead within like 2 years.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit.
Santi, I don't know if you're in the chat right now, but if you are, please ban that person.
I'm not in the chat right now, so could you tell me on DM what it was
It's
that they
nothing
did?
bad. It's just somebody saying want to become famous. Go to here and get more followers.
Oh,
It's just one of those.
I was hoping it was when. Do you remember when we were streaming on YouTube instead
Hmm.
of before Twitch? We had much funnier trolls back
Yeah.
then. Those were the days.
Oh, there were periods of time where I basically had an army of trolls that would just keep making new YouTube accounts over and over and over and over, just trying to annoy me. Which doesn't make sense to me. It takes way more time to make an account than it does for me to ban it. Like, you are definitely losing this exchange. But yeah, I find the Jim Jones story to be really fascinating, and I really hope somebody makes like a good movie about it at some point. Apparently, they're working on a couple. One of them, Jim Jones, is going to be played by DiCaprio. Another one, he's going to be played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That kind of shows you just, to the extent that like a lot of things are not able to be talked about. That they're scraping the bottom of the barrel
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. You cut out there. Check, check.
doing the story of the first Air Jordans.
Oh, okay, there we go. Your audio cut out there for a second. I hear you now.
I don't want to say anything more. I'm gonna get in trouble.
At one point, Vince Gilligan was working on a project to do a TV series, miniseries about Jonestown, but I think he's abandoned it, which really disappointed me. To this day, the only congressman in American history to be killed in the line of duty, so to speak, which kind of seems amazing when you think about it. With all the congressmen that we've had,
Um, Wait, hold on. Say what you said again about what?
oh, the congressman that Jim Jones had murdered, what was his name? Leo Ryan, to this day is the only U.S. congressman to be killed in the line of duty. You know,
Okay, yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying. What confused me was what you said specifically there. That's because in the past there have been congressmen who what they did is they resigned their office to then volunteer and join a military group and then go out and fight in a war. For instance, there was early in Lincoln's presidency, before the Civil War started, there was a senator. I forget which state he was from, but he was close personal friends with Lincoln. When the war began, he resigned his office as a senator to become an officer in the Union Army, and he was killed in action. If you wanted to, you could consider that being, uh, a senator who died in the line of duty, like you were talking about, because he still would have been a senator if he didn't resign to go
yeah.
fight in a war. I feel like that kind of incident should count, because imagine that kind of shit happening nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you're gonna go volunteer in a war, I kind of feel like, you to a certain extent know what has a pretty decent chance of happening. Like, it's not shocking, but it is pretty shocking to go on a fact-finding mission to a commune run by a relatively well-known and popular American um, parishioner. I guess I don't know what you would call him, a parishioner or preacher, and then you just get filled with lead because you try to help a few people escape. would be what I would say about that. It's when you're volunteering for war, like you have to know there's a real chance you might die or get killed. There was a point during Jonestown where they actually had a representative from Russia, from Soviet Russia, visit the commune to check it out. And he said that the way the commune was being run was in line with the Russian ideals of communism. So, real communism has been tried before. Checkmate, I guess.
Don't even get me started on this. I'll be ranting for days.
I guess you could say that communism has been tried.
Well, it's the same shit I've said multiple times before. I'm all like, read Mein Kampf. Hitler says the only difference between Nazism and Marxism is that Nazism thinks that they need to focus on the racial aspect of society as being the main division rather than class based. And he says in Mein Kampf, he came up with that because he was like, if we try to do anything else, we're just too similar to Marxism. So they would beat us because we're fighting on their own ground. They'd beat us with experience and because they'd be superior to us if we were trying to argue, socialism in the same way that all the other communists do. So that's the man himself saying that shit when he's talking about how to put together this little experiment that he decided to run after he became chancellor. Like,
Yeah.
but then they tell you Hitler wasn't a socialist. Fascism is right wing. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. And reading about Jim Jones today, I kind of fell down a Wikipedia hole and I was reading about, famous cults of personality throughout history.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get MK Ultra if you're not careful.
And, there were a lot of the really well-known ones, right? Like, the Kim Jong, etc., the North Korean leadership. They've always had cult of personalities built around them. Certainly Stalin and Lenin had cults of personalities. They actually listed a series of US presidents, which I always kind of thought was weird. Like, how can you have a cult of personality if you're only allowed to serve as president for 8 years and everything is, and we there are elections every 4 years. I kind of felt like part of a cult of personality is that you're a totalitarian dictator almost. It feels weird to say someone who's elected and can only serve for a short period of time has a cult of personality around them. I don't know.
I don't know either. Shit just has me tired. So goddamn tired.
Never really thought of any US president having a cult of personality.
Lincoln.
That's not bad. I could see that.
Well, now, it depends what you're referring to specifically. Do you mean while they're president? Then the answer is different. While they're president, the most obvious answer becomes Donald Trump, far and
Sure.
away. If you mean after they die, or
Hmm.
at the very least after they leave office, sometimes that was the same answer. Um, Now, a lot of people absolutely love JFK. A big part of that was because they loved the First Lady too, and Jackie O was really famous and continued to be even after JFK passed away. But in the immediate aftermath of when JFK died, he was practically sainted.
Yeah, but he had to die for that to happen. When I think cult of
Right.
personality, I think like every house in the country must have at least 10 pictures of the person on display at all times.
Ah, yes.
And
Um,
he set the record for scoring a 15 on an 18-hole golf course and invented the cheeseburger and.
okay, and that's why I asked in terms of you gotta tell me how you're defining that kind of thing. Um, Washington, I think, may come the closest because after being basically the general who held the country together, and I mean, his legend was so great that he basically, a lot of people felt that he single-handedly kicked the British off the continent, and as if that isn't enough, when he became president, not only did he win unanimously, not only did he win, he was unopposed when it came to running.
Mhm.
There were a lot of people who wanted to just make him king.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I have heard that.
So that would definitely be, I think, the closest
Yeah. And the
for
funny
what
thing
you
was,
got.
he was actually kind of a shitty general. Valley Forge, man. He had his army stationed in a valley during a rainstorm.
Yeah, it's Washington's kind of a tough guy to consider because at times he was acting more like a politician than a general, and at times he was acting more like a general than a politician, and it was often at very inappropriate times. But I mean, he was also an absolute Chad, tallest president we've ever had.
You would think the average height of people would go up as time goes by, so you would think that, the more recent presidents would be taller, but it's not happening. Like Lincoln's second place, isn't he? He was like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, then Washington was like 8 feet tall. No, I think he was 6'5" or 6'6". He was like barely taller than Lincoln. But Trump is the tallest president since Lincoln.
I actually didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that it just kind of shows how random it is. The first president we've ever had, and then one we just had, and okay,
Right.
I guess that kind of shows it's just random.
So the shortest president that we ever had was Richard Nixon, who actually is just ahead in a jar. No, I'm just kidding. Bad Futurama joke. Actually, now I want to Google that. Who was the shortest president? Shortest was the man who wrote the U.S. Constitution, James Madison, was
Oh,
five
yes.
feet 4 inches tall.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
is downright pathetic. Oh shit! LBJ's up there. He's the same height as Trump. How about that? Because he's from Texas.
Yeah. I'll bet JFK wishes he was a little bit shorter.
No, that's pretty funny. FDR was 6'2", but no one remembers him as being tall because he was in a fucking wheelchair. Based.
Man.
Wow, James Madison truly was king of the manlets. Holy shit. We'd have to elect an actual midget to fucking do that.
You have to elect Daniel Radcliffe president.
Basically. No, Daniel Radcliffe was tall.
Oh,
Good Christ.
FDR, one of the worst presidents. Yeah, he's got to be.
Yes. Yes, FDR sucked.
I mean, more than just being bad pound for pound, like the damage done because he was president for so long. Like, there's a multiplicative effect there, I think.
Yes. I personally love what Thomas Sowell has to say about FDR's presidency, which was it definitely prolonged the Great Depression by far, and that what got us out of the Great Depression was the war, and that if it hadn't have been for that, we'd have been stuck there pretty much until he croaked. Because to be fair, especially to politicians back then, it hadn't been figured out yet that this new idea, because it was new back then, of central planning and government interference in the economy was a horrible idea because it hadn't really been tried yet. So they were making new mistakes, and to their credit, they didn't know any better. That's why I don't rant and rave against FDR as much as I do against more recent presidents who continue to do that fucking ridiculous horse shit. But yeah, he government interference in the economy is not good for the economy, and it caused a whole heap of damage.
Chris, look how
Because
big this
what's
map is. There's a ton of stuff to clean.
because what's funny is this wasn't FDR's fault. It was when Hoover was still in office. The Smoot-Hawley tariffs. By the time the Smoot-Hawley tariffs were instituted, economy from the original crash in 1929 was already starting to bounce back. It was already starting to recover. Smoot-Hawley tariffs were so damaging to the American economy that it just fucking pushed it over the edge of the cliff. And that's not FDR's fault. Big reason why Hoover didn't win re-election and why FDR won in a huge landslide. But FDR didn't exactly make things better. Made things substantially worse.
Like, I mean, comparing him to other presidents, like he was probably more damaging than Ulysses S. Grant, but he was certainly more competent than Ulysses S. Grant as well. Like, I can't really make that comparison.
Yeah. I feel bad for Grant. He was an excellent general, and he basically got bullied into being a politician. This dude had horrible PTSD over ordering tens of thousands of men to their deaths. And, he just spent most of his time drunk trying to fucking deal with that and live with it. Popular he was in the post-war world. So you just have him rubber stamp everything that came across his desk. And
Feels like that would never happen now. Like a popular, successful general just cruises into the White House.
well, that's because there are no more popular, successful generals. Because the way that wars are fought, they don't even remotely resemble the way that wars are actually supposed to be fought. Because we haven't fought a real, genuine war since World War II. Everything's just been some sort of political clusterfuck. Like, either it's been a genuine military action, in which case we win so quickly that it's not even remembered, like Grenada. Like, do you know who the commanding general of Grenada was?
Mm, right. That's a good
Or
point.
it ends up being a political clusterfuck, which is just like completely pointless. So we remember guys, very important generals from the most recent conflict in Iraq and Afghanistan. We remember guys like Petraeus. But, he wasn't exactly successful. And because he wasn't exactly successful, you can't exactly call him popular either. Um, Mattis is another good example. Look what happened when he actually got involved in politics. The man had, to bring up a term that we'd used earlier, a cult of personality around him.
Hmm.
Yet he actually got into politics, and what did he start doing? He just started fucking okaying a bunch of ridiculous shit. And it's because as soon as he got the taste of that lovely, lovely money from the neocons, he was like, this is what I was actually here for.
I used to work out, or not with a guy, but around a guy at my local gym who served under Mattis at one point, like some time ago.
He's a fucking legend in the Marines. So, like, his cuckening, uh, that really split how a lot of Marines felt about him. Because you had the ones who were fucking diehard conservatives who felt like he stabbed them in the back, and then you had ones who were cucks who, had left the military long ago and thinks there's no problem with having car parts in the military. And then they're all like, yeah, Mattis did everything right. He's still a legend. But then, like, there's no manliness left that you can point to. Like all the fucking memes are dead. Sucks.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, all the war heroes end up losing. John McCain, John Kerry, lately.
It's- Exactly, because they may be portrayed as war heroes, but they're actually not.
Well, yeah,
John
okay.
Kerry,
That's how they sold
John,
themselves. You know what I mean?
right, exactly, yeah, yeah, because John Kerry, he ran. It was a big part of his platform, talking about how he won 3 Purple Hearts in Vietnam, which is true. He did win the medal 3 times. However, one of the instances where he was awarded the Purple Heart, he threw a grenade into a big pot of rice, and not well, not like a pot like a lot of people imagine, because they're thinking of how they cook rice at home. A gigantic pot, essentially for the entire village to be eating rice. So he threw a grenade in there to just blow the thing up, and a chunk of superheated rice flew at his ass cheek at a very fast speed and left behind a little welt, and he called that a fucking Purple Heart winner.
My God, if I was in the army, I would be farming Purple Hearts. I would be doing that shit every day.
Pretty much.
That's hysterical. I actually didn't know that. If American Sniper was a thing, then that guy is a president in the 60s? Maybe. If he goes into politics.
Well, that's a tough one to say too, because the dude was like joyous about all the different people that he and some members of his unit were deployed to Katrina to help police against who were considered looters. Weren't actually looters; they were just people who didn't join the government evacuation and decided to stay behind for whatever reason. And he would gleefully celebrate as he was just fucking gunning people down. Now, people nowadays don't give a shit about that kind of thing because either you're a lefty, in which case that's exactly what you expect anyone in the military to be doing, so it's not exactly news to you, or you're right wing, in which case you don't really care. So, back in the
Remember,
60s, though, people had very, very different ideas on whether or not it was okay to just smoke people who hadn't done anything wrong like that. So, that being the case, it's also much easier to keep kind of thing quiet in the 60s, so who knows?
I remember during Katrina, you would have like the news articles on Yahoo. It would be like a white couple taking a group of white people taking stuff out of a store, and the caption is like, "These survivalists are trying." The picture caption was like, "Three survivalists gather supplies to try to survive," and then like it's the same picture basically, but it's like a black person, and it's like looters robbing a local store, taking advantage. It was just like
Uh,
fucking hilarious. I mean, it might
exactly.
have been photoshopped for all I knew, but a lot of people were posting them on YTMND. I remember after Katrina, there was a lot of fun stuff on YTMND.
Yes, and it inevitably led to nowadays, where you can't even make a Swedish wizard in the new Harry Potter game. Lord.
Well, you can now.
Oh yeah, you don't seem to understand. My character is actually transracial. He identifies as Scandinavian. This isn't a story mission. This is a special
I think
thing.
so. I think so. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense considering that we're having to use this hunk of shit. We're using our actual good stuff.
Well, JS, in fairness, she does relentlessly flirt with you during the herbology classes, so I can see why people are saying that.
The Professor Sprout.
No, the herbology professor in Hogwarts Legacy, who is obviously not Sprout, but it's a reasonably attractive redheaded woman.
Wait, unironically, the teacher's flirting with you.
I mean, that's basically how it sounds. She keeps talking about wanting you to like plant stuff and making sure the soil is moist before you.
Boy, makes sense. This game did release around Valentine's Day. What kind of message were they sending?
Somebody actually made a mod to change the voice of the car part character,
Mhm.
and the mod already got taken off the Nexus.
How did they change the voice?
Well, okay, you know what character I'm talking about, right? The character in Hogwarts Legacy who is a um,
Yes.
okay. Well, they made it a female voice.
Oh, that's pretty funny. We're just helping them pass better.
Well, the
Ooh.
thing is, they're wizards. They should be able to just wave their wand, and immediately you're just turned into a
Say
complete.
meet us, meet us, delete us.
Yeah, and then you change your voice using magic. Like there shouldn't be, like Santi was talking about this the other day. They shouldn't have the, you know, going from one gender to another issues that real people have because they have magic.
Yes, you're exactly correct. If you feel like you would much rather be abroad, what you could do is just use some polyjuice potion and spend some time living that life and see if it's what you want. And after that, using transfiguration, turn your wiener into a basket for holding Easter eggs. Magic.
Can't wait to try the mod where the wands all get turned into guns and you can just decide you're the anti-hero.
Be amazing.
Well, at least some people have noted the fact that a school shooting at Hogwarts wouldn't last very long because all the teachers are carrying. Some people are starting to come to that realization. No, Chris. I don't know how far I am. I'm gonna play it a bunch tomorrow, I think. Tonight
All
Snacks
right.
was available, so I wanted to
All right,
co-op.
students. That concludes the lecture. Does anyone have any questions? I don't think 6 million's a reasonable number, Professor Snape. How dare you? 10 points from Ravenclaw.
I mean, in the Harry Potter world, that whole thing probably proceeded a little bit differently because of the presence of wizards. Like there are spells you can just use to vanish a body.
Incendio. Legalized jokes.
Also, Professor Garlic is literally the only professor you have that is in any way an attractive teacher. And after Persona, having an attractive teacher is like a requirement for any game where you're a student. So people just have to make do with what they have.
Did you say Professor Garlic?
I think I'm not sure if that's actually her name, but I think it is. And it's not
Or
the Dragon Ball Z character. I can assure you of that. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't watch Dragon Ball Z. Well, Chris, it depends on your tastes. The Hogwarts game is basically like a fusion between a BioWare game and a From Software game. I don't think it's as good as either of those things, but the fusion I think works quite well. If that sounds like something that you would have an appreciation of, then yeah, I'd say it probably is. Computer, generate a 50-foot tall Daisy Ridley.
for reminding me.
Remember, Locutus is watching you always.
The cutest of Borg.
Wired actually did a review of Hogwarts Legacy and gave it a 1 out of 10. Really hoping the review aggregate sites understand that they need to like ignore shit like that. And yes, they gave it a 1 out of 10 for the reason that you're thinking.
Okay, Joker.
Yeah.
I'm coming to my position. Turn around.
Oh, okay.
Can you see me? Okay.
Am I gonna get banned off Twitch for this?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll come over where I am and read the. And yeah, you'll start going to the. There you go.
That's pretty good. I'm I don't know why, but I'm actually genuinely surprised you find Daisy Ridley attractive. I thought she was the kind of woman that you wouldn't find very
Oh
attractive.
no, I. she's okay. I mean, like she's not ugly.
Hmm.
I'm like, you know, she's very thin for my tastes. Since we're speaking of Harry Potter, I can say that I prefer Emma Watson in the first few films.
I don't see wired reviews on Metacritic. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Best Star Wars movie? Either the first one or Empire. I can go either way on that one.
Yes, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I remember when Harrison Ford went on Letterman and they had clips of the holiday special and they were playing it and he was getting really annoyed.
Yeah, yeah, I can't blame him. Be like, I'm gonna fire my agent, and fuck you, I'm never coming back.
Because Harrison Ford really doesn't have that much personality anyway. Like he's
Yeah, he's a horse's ass, dude. Like he's not a fun guy.
yeah. Oh, okay. You okay?
What?
No, somebody was saying no. I was saying that Daisy Ridley Star Wars movies were the best
Oh,
because they are the only ones where a dinosaur gets their titties milked.
of course.
A man of culture.
At least she had the grace to, have a traumatized look on her face during that scene. It's got to be difficult because, like, that whole thing was CGI. She had nothing to go off of, so they probably just told her straight up what was going to happen. It's like, okay, so in this scene, Luke is milking a dinosaur. You're like, what?
No, they
Who?
probably told her something else, like, oh, he's pulling a deliverance on a
Oh, God.
fucking on a Ewok. Like, what's the most disturbing thing you can think of to make yourself look disgusted right here?
Disturbing thing I could think of is in this scene, Jar Jar comes back. No,
Yeah, and
the long national nightmare has begun again.
Luke deliverances is him.
Luke milks Jar Jar.
Oh dear God, there are no words.
Ah, the Polynesian spa.
Too bad Book
Come
of
on
Boba
and try
sucked.
something new. Yeah. Well, all that shit sucks, man. Like, you already knew it was gonna
Yeah,
fucking
but
be a
Book of
Boba.
Boba was a special kind. It felt like a show made for 6-year-olds. I can't say that about some of the other stuff they've done. It was a little better than that. Somehow Voldemort returned.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child featuring Poe Dameron.
Somehow Soren returned.
Rings of Power coming to you.
I can't wait for Rise of Skywalker to be so far in our rearview mirror that pop culture starts actually like mocking it. Like we start getting parody sequels and stuff.
They have to be long enough to where Disney is completely collapsed as a corporation, so that they don't have to fear legal reprisals.
Somehow Khan returned. Oh wait, they actually did kind of do that.
Yeah, I was about to say. That was like my favorite in the friggin' the half in a bag review. They're all like, "Why the hell is it?" He says, "My name is Khan," and there's this dramatic music sting. Everyone's just staring at him really intensely, and it's all like, "Wait a minute, that shouldn't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
It means something to us, but like they don't even know who that is yet." Like,
And it doesn't mean anything to us because he's not acting like Khan at all, ever.
and yeah, that too. As like Benedict Cumberbatch is extremely pale and obviously an Englishman. Han was like,
Well, the actor who played
granted,
him was Ricardo Montalban, who is, I think, Mexican.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm all like, he's not exactly Indian, but the Khan Noonien Singh is his name, if I remember right.
Oh,
Check
did you ever read the explanation of why the screenwriter said they wanted Khan to be white?
I don't like where this is going, but go ahead.
No, they basically said they didn't want to have a terrorist character who had, brown skin. They thought that would feed into the stereotype in a way they didn't want. They thought they would get accused of being racist.
So
Because it,
they could have just not had him be a terrorist because in his actual portrayal in the original series, he was former warlord.
yeah, I mean, they should have made a good movie, for starters.
Right.
I mean, people were mad that the actor who played Khan wasn't Indian, but the original actor who played Khan wasn't Indian either. So it's like, doesn't that kind of illustrate how silly this whole thing is?
Yeah. Everything's dumb. I agree.
Somehow Hans Gruber returned.
Somehow Kim Jong Il returned.
That kind of happened. There was that period of time where it looked like he was dying, and then suddenly he wasn't.
Oh, Kim Jong Il, not Un.
Oh, okay.
Dad, who was the one who was hitting. 18 hole in ones.
Yeah, I actually saw the Ghost in the Shell movie in theaters. It kind of sucked, but I remember that controversy. Yeah. The funny thing is, it didn't even work because the movie was a bomb. You know, they only had Scarlett Johansson cast in that because they were trying to make money, and then it didn't work. I've the only anime Ghost in the Shell movie I've ever seen is the original one, and it's pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
Jesus Christ, we're only a third of the way through this fucking catastrophe.
Do they have a Perfect Blue on there? Is Perfect Blue on Amazon Prime? That'd be a fun anime to watch. It
Oh,
basically
dude, fuck that shit. You can't jump with the ladder in your hands anymore.
weird thing to take out.
And that sucks. You have to like find a part of the map you can actually walk up in order to friggin' ugh.
Yeah, Perfect Blue is the anime that largely inspired Black Swan. You should watch that if it's on there.
How the hell am I supposed to get up there?
Jump on me. Jump on top of my head.
No, 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 no. Stop, 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 stop. See me up here?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you can see, but like, oh, I guess this is how. I just jump on top of this thing and then I jump up here.
Oh,
The
nice.
very, very, very tippy top.
Mm-mm-mm. I actually think that was the best video Little Karibo ever made when he took clips from Perfect Blue and changed the soundtrack to make it seem like the movie was a romantic comedy. That was pretty good.
The what's funny to me is when you go back and rewatch some of the very beginning fucking episodes.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the jokes are considered nowadays to be too offensive.
Yeah.
So he fucking edits the shit, and he's got in the description. He's all like, "When I made this, I didn't realize this was so bad. I'm sorry." And, like doing all this fucking ridiculous shit, and
Yeah.
then
Remember
uh,
the episode where they go into the virtual world and like the princess is literally Mokuba in drag?
mhm.
What the fuck was that? I mean that was in the original show too. So like what the fuck? What was up with that, man? Like dear God. Isn't Ridley the name of the villain in Super Metroid? Yeah, it was. Okay. I saw your
It's
Daisy
like
Ridley graffiti again, and I was like, where do I know that name from?
so Ridley Scott.
Hmm. Oh
If I
yeah.
remember correct, yeah, that's who Ridley was named after because he's a purple dinosaur alien thing.
Oh, did you hear they're remastering Metroid Prime for the Switch?
Assuming it's as legitimate of a switch up as um Dead Space remake was, not just like
No, I think it is just a graphical update. I'm not sure though. I haven't looked into it enough.
and then I just hope that it's not half-assed like the San Andreas.
Oh, the GTA.
Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah.
one that was a fucking catastrophe.
Yeah.
That one needed another couple of years in the tank. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, how they
Yeah.
fucked that up that
Uh,
badly, I don't even know.
yeah. Apparently they're going to also change the controls because I guess in the original Metroid Prime you couldn't aim and shoot and move at the same time
Yes, that's correct.
because the second joystick on the GameCube was basically like a little clitoris.
C-stick.
Yeah, the C
Remember it.
stick.
Yeah.
It was like this tiny weird little thing, and they didn't want it controlling the camera, I guess. But now, obviously, on the Switch Pro controller, you can do that. So I might finally get to play Metroid Prime. That is one of the games that I never played when I was younger. Never had the opportunity to.
You ever play Pikmin?
I have played Pikmin, yeah.
You ever play Luigi's Mansion?
No, I never knew anybody who had that game. I played Smash Brothers some, of course, but everybody who had a GameCube literally has that game. I think it's got like a 98% saturation rate.
I was one of the few who never bought Melee, and it's specifically because of what you were talking about. I never had to. All my friends had it.
Yeah. I remember playing a little Spy Hunter one time on it. Um, Not a particularly good game or anything, but I had a friend who had it. I didn't really play it, but I did watch somebody play Animal Crossing because that's not really a game you play multiplayer.
Play Animal Crossing either.
I'm gonna try the new Animal Crossing or the most recent Animal Crossing later this year, though. It's gonna be fun.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is on the Switch. It's interesting.
What was the mechanic of Luigi's Mansion that separated it from other games besides just being a platformer? What made it like stand out?
Oh, well, aside from that you play as Luigi,
Yeah, like was there a trick to it like
um,
Mario Sunshine had the flood system?
you were literally fighting ghosts and all this. Now, the different boss ghosts would have different mechanics in the sense of what you had to go through in order to expose them.
Yeah.
But once you had the opportunity to expose them, what you did is you shined the flashlight on them, which would make their heart appear, and their heart was their HP gauge. From there, you would initiate your vacuum, and you had to vacuum, try to pull your joystick in the exact opposite direction which the ghost was heading in, which would increase the effectiveness of the suck. Then,
So it was kind of like a Ghostbusters video game.
yes, that's correct. It was you essentially were ghost busting. There were I think there were 300 boos that you had to catch. And Bowser was of course the bad guy again. He captured Mario and sent him to the Phantom Zone because he was trapped inside a fucking painting or some shit. And then you had to go to this mansion and to find Mario and everything, but the mansion was super haunted, so you had to like get rid of all the ghosts first to find a trail of Mario.
Mhm.
Remember
See, it
correct? Original Luigi's Mansion has outsold every Mario game ever made.
I seriously doubt that. I mean, Super Mario All-Stars literally came with the NES. if I recall correctly.
It's every Mario game combined. Um,
I remember when Luigi's Mansion came out, the graphics were really like in the commercial. I remember thinking like, "Wow, that's one of the best looking games I've ever seen."
Because the GameCube was like the last time Nintendo actually tried, and they put a shitload of effort into that fucking thing, and it was pound for pound, it was absolutely the most powerful console of that generation. The only thing is that Nintendo, for some reason, wanted to lean really hard into being the console for kids. So you missed out on having the opportunity for a lot of different game developers who wanted to make an extremely gory game, which ended up being super popular and shit. And up on the GameCube because that was bad for the console's reputation. The one exception is like fucking Capcom games.
Well,
So
wasn't
Resident Evil and all
Eternal
of them are good
Darkness
up.
pretty gory? Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem.
Yes, it was, especially for the time. If I remember correctly, Eternal Darkness was also a Capcom game.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it.
Well, I believe so. I'm going to check right now. No, I was wrong. It was a group called Silicon Knights.
Must have not really made too much else after that.
It was originally planned for the N64. The first M-rated game published by Nintendo, as well as their first game released after Satoru Iwata became president of Nintendo. While the game features similar gameplay mechanics to that of Resident Evil, it distinguished itself with unique features such as sanity effects in the game. A direct follow-up to the game was cancelled by Nintendo, who was the publisher and owned the game's copyright and trademark, and Silicon Knights a decade later went bankrupt and disbanded. Attempts by the game's writer and director Dennis Dyack to make a spiritual successor entitled Shadow of the Eternals failed both of their Kickstarter campaigns, leading to the project being placed on indefinite hold. In the years since Eternal Darkness' release, it's been regarded as one of the greatest games of all time, as well as one of the best horror games ever made.
Like that sentence is put on the Wikipedia of every game that was ever considered better than average. Like I think they have it on like the Wikipedia page for Gran Turismo 3 and fucking like Halo 4 and like any game that got good reception has been considered by some to be one of the greatest games ever made.
Let's see here. Silicon Knights. Their first game developed was in 1992 called Cyber Empires for the Amiga, the Atari ST, and DOS. In 1993, Fantasy Empires. 1994, Dark Legions, both on DOS. Oh, holy shit. Those were the guys who made Blood Omen Legacy of Kain.
Oh, I have those games on Steam but haven't gotten to them yet, but I know people who love them.
Also made the Twin Snakes. I think that's what killed him. Oh man, that's fucking good.
Wait, Konami didn't make Twin Snakes? How the fuck did that happen?
Well, they weren't the sole developers, they were just a part of it. Plus, there's a difference between the developers and the publishers. Konami is the publisher and also the developer, but they outsourced a lot of work to Silicon Knights.
Okay.
Ship in that sense. Let me check the box art. And my Chrome has froze. Yay. Yeah, when you look at the box art for the Twin Snakes, down at the bottom, Underneath it says produced by Hideo Kojima. On the left-hand side is the seal for Nintendo. Right next to that is the Silicon Knights logo. And right next to that is the Konami logo. And then right next to that, rated M for mature.
Yeah.
The moral of the story is things could always be worse.
Man, I remember. I'm surprised. I mean, I know there ended up being kind of sort of one on the Xbox. Can't believe there wasn't a Perfect Dark sequel on the GameCube at some point. That would have killed if they'd made it good, which they did not do
Well,
on the Xbox version.
you know what's even funnier?
Right.
Perfect Dark basically belongs to Xbox now, because I don't know if the one you're referring to was the one that was on 360. If I remember right, it launched with the 360.
Yeah.
There's another Perfect Dark game that's slated to come out within the next few years. It's going to be an exclusive for Microsoft, so it'll be on the Series X and PC.
But will they actually be able to make a decent game? Because the last one, nobody seemed to like it.
This is the first Perfect Dark game in almost like fucking 15 years, thereabouts.
Yeah.
Somebody said something earlier today that really hurt me. I'm still 31 right now. I turned 32 this year. But somebody said something along the lines of they're referring to Gen Z. Somebody was talking about kids these days, the young folks, and they said millennials. So the guy corrects me, says Gen Z. At this point, millennials are pushing 40. I was like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, oh fuck, I'm in my 30s. And I was like, oh god, I'm gonna die soon because my life is fucking meaningless and I haven't done any of the things that I've wanted to do, and every day just gets worse and worse and worse, and I'm gonna fucking die.
That happens to everybody at some point, I think, though. Except for
Well,
the
some people
truly
just.
exceptional.
I was like, well, people feel older and they're, you know, and tell me about this part. Son of a bitch. Well, at least we're halfway through now.
Just about, yeah. I never played Phantasy Star Online, but I did play a Phantasy Star game on the PlayStation Vita that I bought not knowing the game didn't get ported to English. So the whole game, with like one or two exceptions, is in Japanese. So I basically had to brute force my way through the game, clicking on things randomly until things worked because I couldn't understand anything in the game. I had no idea what I was doing in the menus. I just was like, okay, let's just keep clicking stuff until I beat the game.
That was fucking excruciating. I'm surprised you were able to pull that off.
Yeah, I did pull it off, but it was not easy. And you would think I would have learned some Japanese in the process, but no. I don't think my brain is a good brain for learning other languages.
I don't
I
think my brain is a good brain.
I wonder why Capcom did things the way they did back in that day. Because Code Veronica was going to be a Dreamcast exclusive, and then they decided, hey, let's port it to the PS2 when the Dreamcast bombed. But then they made Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 0, both GameCube exclusive, and then they made Resident Evil 4 GameCube, and then it, like a couple months later, I think, went to the PS2. Kind of random, just kind of randomly spreading it out among a bunch of different consoles.
I think it's because they were willing to commit to the GameCube.
Hmm.
Um, like they might have switched their marketing strategy after with Veronica.
Hmm.
They might have committed to the GameCube. Then they saw how well Resident Evil 4 was selling, and they got big time fucking dollar signs in their eyes, and said, "Why don't we release it for the PS2?" If it waited just a little bit longer, if there was more time within that life cycle, it probably would have ended up on the Xbox also, because Resident Evil 5 ended up on the Xbox and the PS3. It didn't end up on the Wii because the Wii wasn't fucking strong enough for that shit, otherwise it would have.
Yeah.
It was also when they decided to start bringing Resident Evil to PC, and they released RE5 for PC, which was the only way that I played it because I never touched it on console.
Hmm. Yeah, Code Veronica needs a remake very badly. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever remake 5. God, was 5 even really well liked? I know a lot of people played it because it had co-op and stuff. But to my recollection, all anybody ever did was bitch about how bad the AI was. Like, people didn't like it that
Um,
much.
and it came out, that was back in the day when it was much more common and everything to be extremely racist on the internet. So you can imagine how Resident Evil 5 was received. People played it, people loved it. Like pretty much everybody fucking played it. It
Okay.
was a huge game, but people had a lot of complaints about the location that the game took place in. They also had a lot of complaints about Sheva.
And Sheva has not been back in a Resident Evil game since 5, right?
She was
So,
in Dead by Daylight.
yeah, Dead by Daylight, I guess.
If I remember correctly, she showed up in Resident Evil 6. She was seen in the in the background of one cutscene, waiting tables. Just kidding. Nah, man, I love Sheva because Resident Evil 5 was just so goddamn funny. How many different times you can just blow a fucking quick time event in a cutscene, get your partner killed.
I
Sheva!
I remember the first time I played Resident Evil 4. I missed a QTE during the knife fight between Leon and what's the guy's name? Kra- Krauser, yeah. And like he just shoves this gigantic knife right into your chest and you just fall over dead like a puppet that just got its strings cut, a marionette. And it's like I don't know, for some reason it was just the funniest thing ever cuz just out of nowhere this guy's trying to have a conversation with you and then he just jams this gigantic knife into your chest and you're just dead.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Would have
That
been
was funny.
funny if he was just like, "Oh, I didn't expect that to happen." Oops.
Where is the satisfying sound of one's impalement? I think that they're just going to pretend 6 doesn't happen. Even if they make that game better, they still have to deal with the fact that it has stupid shit like Wesker's son in it. I think they're better off pretending like we didn't do that. Just pretend that Wesker doesn't have a kid because he shouldn't have a kid because he doesn't have time. He's a Sigma male. I
That
can't think of a
grind
more
set.
I can't think of a more Sigma male than Wesker, honestly.
Complete global grind set.
Complete global aurora lemonialis.
Well, steam more. I made it, despite your steam directions. Just like the Steam Burger is a crust Steam Burger.
They should remake Resident Evil Gaiden, the Game Boy game.
Yeah, that was not Capcom's finest hour.
Or what about the game you played with the light gun that you aimed at the screen? Resident Evil Outbreak.
Uh, I don't know because I never touched that one, but I do know that there was Umbrella Chronicles and the Dark Side Chronicles on the Wii that used light gun mechanics.
Yeah, weren't those games terrible?
Well, depends. I like them.
I might be thinking of Operation Raccoon City. They made like a shooter game that was basically a Call of Duty clone, and it was terrible.
Oh, yeah. I never played Operation Raccoon City, but I also heard that it was not good.
Yeah. I watched somebody stream it once. It was hilarious. It took him like 45 minutes to find a match because nobody else was playing it.
Nice.
Did you ever get into like the Guitar Hero Rock Band type games?
Kinda.
Yeah, that was something I could never get into. I just didn't have the rhythm for it. I sucked big ass at them.
I was the only person in my friend group who was ever willing to sing those rock band segments, and I was like, dude, I don't want to fucking sing all the time constantly.
Dude, all you have to
Got
do is hum into the microphone and it'll pick it up the same. Like, you don't have to sing.
okay, we'll see. I know that now,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to fucking do it, so I just said, all right, screw it, because like I wanted to fucking try the drums and the guitars and stuff, but they never let me.
During the peak of that game's popularity, my brother was one of the best rock band players in the world. Like, he was legitimately, like, I think he ranked in the top 10 on every instrument plus singing in terms of like total points. He would go to these tournaments and like just destroy everybody. He was so good at it, and I couldn't do shit. I was fucking terrible at that. I just didn't have it. Cool, Austin. Hope you won. Oh my God, that's disgusting. I'm so sorry.
But
I burped.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, good. My noise cancellation software worked.
Yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered released actually 5 days ago. You could actually stream that next if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't I mean it's $40 for a paint job, which is a practice I don't care for, but I've never played the game, so
Exactly. The next Legend of Zelda game comes out on the Switch in looks like May.
yeah, I already pre-ordered it. I'm gonna get it day one.
Pikmin 4 coming out in July.
I might go
Oh,
back
that'll
and
make Nicholas happy. Advance Wars is coming to the Switch.
yeah, sounds pretty cool to me, Austin. But yeah, I'll I might have to go play through the old Pikmin games, and if they're still doing it for me, maybe I will play Pikmin 4. I hope they still have Captain Olimar as the main character. It would
Hopefully
break
they
my
do. Do they still have the backwards compatibility thing that Nintendo did way better than anybody else, where you could play like basically anything ever on their
Yeah, you
stuff?
have to subscribe to the Nintendo eStore service or whatever, but yeah, you can play like NES, N64, GameCube, SNES games. Not
Well,
all
then
of
they should.
them, but yeah.
Oh, where's they have Luigi's Mansion on there?
See here. Okay, it looks like Super Mario Sunshine. What the hell is
Where
Spinks? Okay, I'm looking at a list here. I don't think
where
this
where do
is
you
all of them. I'm trying
where
to
do you
find.
see?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
Where's the
find a
thing?
link that is actually comprehensive, and I'll send it to you. Oh, it does have Luigi's Mansion and Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2.
Oh,
Okay, so I'll send this to you. This is every game that was on the Nintendo GameCube Online as at launch. They may have added more since. If you scroll down, it'll show you the launch titles.
the Nintendo Polygon is a ninth generation home console successor to the Nintendo Switch, made by Nintendo in collaboration with Steped Studios. It was made to indirectly compete with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. It features an optical disc drive to run Polygon exclusive games, as well as a Nintendo Switch cartridge slot to run games in TV mode only. It was released December 2nd of last year. I didn't even know that this was a thing. I'm genuinely shocked that I haven't heard about this, that this is a thing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it either.
And in January of this year, Nintendo announced that they were no longer developing first party games for the Nintendo Switch family, instead, directly focusing on games for Polygon and Nintendo Push. Nintendo Push is the 10th generation handheld console that can be connected to a TV, which is going to be more along the lines of the literal successor to the Switch in terms of gimmick, and is also the Push is a system built to replace the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo 3DS. Like the Nintendo Polygon, it is fully backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch cartridges as well as Nintendo 3DS cartridges. So this one looks like one I'm gonna get because I've been seriously looking forward to that shit ever since they came out with the Switch and ruined the 3DS. And the release date is next year. It'll be January 2024.
JS, I think Nintendo system cycles are very similar to Sony and Microsoft. They just occasionally get a little out of the pattern. Like they tried to do like the Wii U thing. They tried to like basically almost do like a stealth launch of the Wii U, and it was a disaster. But the Switch came out when 6 years ago, and now the new Nintendo system's coming out next year. So that's 7 years. That's pretty standard, I think, for a console life cycle.
I'm not finding fucking anything about this when I Google it online. Where the hell did that come from?
Well, there was that Nintendo Direct conference just a handful of days ago. It probably got it talked about there.
Oh. So never mind. That's December 2nd of this year. That's a typo in the article. If that would be the case, then.
Mhm. Just like how all the Switch games that are good are still $60. Like, come on, man. Give me a break. At the very least, they're only charging $40 for the Metroid Prime remaster. It's still probably too much, but at least they're recognizing that we shouldn't be charging full price for a remastered GameCube game. Be nice, Austin. You should record the footage and upload it somewhere. I remember when I was young, I used a VCR to record myself playing Madden. Literally had a VCR with a tape in it recording while I was playing Madden, so I could go back and watch tape. Madden 2-on-2 mode, I'm not familiar. Are you still there, Snacks?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you go AFK or are you just really intensely concentrating on something? Man, Mario Sunshine is the third best selling game on the GameCube. Huh. I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, Madden does that sometimes. Oh yeah, Snacks, I wanted to ask you, who did you main in Smash?
Falco.
It was like Samus. I didn't play a lot, but when I did, I liked Samus. Falcon Punch! Falcon Punch!
Oh, not Captain Falcon.
No, 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 I
Falco.
know, but I just
Okay.
remember that from when my friends would play it. All right. Yeah, yeah. It would be so much better if I can't believe like the EA license for NFL games hasn't expired yet. You would think at a certain point, even the NFL would realize it would be better if they had multiple companies making licensed football games, but no.
NFL doesn't care, and anytime it comes up for renewal, EA easily gets to renew it, and
Mhm.
NFL doesn't care.
I'm sure both.
For both what?
Somebody just proposed a scenario to me and asked me if I would be really, really angry or really, really sad. And I said both.
What's the scenario?
Uh, if we had a 16-1 or I guess 17-1 season and lost in OT at home on a long touchdown run, how would you feel? Because that's the
What
scenario
kind
he
of
just.
question is that? How do you expect he'd feel?
Well, he was asking because he's doing a Madden franchise, and that's what he just put the Chicago Bears through. They were 16-1 in the NFC title game at home, and he beat them in overtime on a long touchdown run.
Wow, funny.
So
It
LeBron
caused him
has,
a lot
I
of.
think LeBron has sit out every game the Lakers have played since he broke the record. Maybe he really is going to retire.
Yeah, he was only holding on for just that. He has nothing left to play for. He's probably fucking exhausted, and I don't think he's going to be alive for very much longer, too. Steroid use has a huge fucking negative impact on your long term health. A lot to answer for.
Wing James, TBH.
I think those people spend $100,000 on those Thunder tickets are fucking killing. Not only did he break the record before that game, but he didn't even bother playing that fucking game.
No, no, no. He broke it in the Thunder game. He didn't break it in the Bucks game. That was the game people bought expensive tickets for that he didn't play in.
Oh, oh, okay. I thought that was the game. He was expected to break it into people. Were, okay, never mind.
Yeah. Well, people thought it was also possible that he would break it against the Bucks. It was kind of like a gamble, and some people won, some people lost. Although I kind of feel like it's kind of like buying the world's largest ball of yarn. Like, so what? Like, yay, you spent $100,000 to watch LeBron break a longevity record. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Calm down. Not sure it was worth it.
Yeah, it's mostly just to be able to flex on people and say you were there, because it's not going to be an enjoyable experience by any metric.
Yeah, it wasn't
It's
even a
kind of
good
like
game.
how
Both teams sucked.
When Kobe announced that his last season was going to be his last season, the prices for all those Laker games started going way up because people were like, "This is my last chance to see Kobe." But it's like, okay, number one, he didn't play every single game, and number two, in plenty of the games that he did play in, he played like shit.
I mean, he had kind of been playing bad for a couple seasons, so I don't think anybody was
Exactly.
surprised.
When it's way fucking tough to come back from an Achilles tendon rupture the way that he did.
Mhm.
Never was the same after that.
Yeah. Remember after some of the games, he would be on the sideline, like wrapped up, his whole body's wrapped up basically in ice packs.
Mhm.
Looks like a fucking like husk of corn wrapped up in the husk.
Yeah. That was pretty much the D'Antoni season when they were constantly running.
D'Antoni probably did that, by the way, because he was playing Kobe so much. Like I remember
Yeah,
he was playing him basically every minute of every game, and then he tears his Achilles. Like, what do you think's gonna
yeah,
happen?
yeah. You're right. D'Antoni actually killed Kobe. He's the reason Kobe died. Still kind of a wild fucking thing to think about. Kobe's dead.
I know. It actually, maybe because it doesn't really mean anything to me, my life didn't change at all from Kobe dying, but it still kind of doesn't feel like it's something that actually happened.
Yeah.
So they asked Kareem about his reaction to LeBron breaking the record, and he gave this really over the top and melodramatic speech about how LeBron made him love basketball again. It felt like he was trying to make up for the fact that he didn't look very happy about it when the record got broken. I don't know, it was fucking weird.
Kareem said that made him like basketball
No,
again.
he said LeBron made him love basketball again or something like that. It's like,
Oh
no, he fucking
man,
didn't.
it's fucking hilarious because he's. If you take him at his word, then you're like, you didn't love basketball anymore. When did that happen? When did you stop? And now he's like, ah, shit.
Hmm.
At least he didn't use it as an opportunity to fucking Make people watch him juggle or something.
Is that a
I'll be back in a minute.
is that a casino reference?
No,
That's what I thought of for some reason.
it's a Goodfellas reference. Remember the scene? Didn't you tell me you said some shit like that to a girl once when you were on a date? You were like, "What am I funny to you? Like a clown?"
No, I've never
Or
done that.
am I thinking of something else?
No, I will do it though. I am gonna do it.
Pretty good.
If the date's not going well and she says that line, you just got to do it. Like this is
You
this
need
is my out.
date not going well and going absolutely rogue is what led to one of the finest bits of Sam Hyde creativity ever. When he fucking did the "I'd be hit one of Hitler's top guys." That poor girl. That was hilarious. All right, I'll be back in a minute.
Slit his throat from ear to ear. If
All right, I'm back.
okay, we are 2/3 of the way through. We can finish this sucker. What do you mean I'm funny, motherfucker?
You know what's crazy to think about? If you had to tell me that of the top three in that movie, first one to go is going to be what's his face who played Henry.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah, there you go. And that De Niro and Pesci were still going to be wandering the earth. Would have been pretty surprised.
I mean, Ray Liotta never really had another great role. It was weird too. He's so good there, and it was just like the perfect role at the perfect time, I guess. He was never able to be that good in any other role again. Not, I mean, he got other good roles and he was fine, but
Trying to do as much of this with one hand as I can.
what the fuck are you doing with your other hand?
I'm practicing my ventriloquism. Because you know what? I'm talking right now. I bet you don't even see my mouth move.
True.
You guys just have to take my word for it. I'm a really good ventriloquist. You could say that again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, my lips didn't move at all.
Did you see that Salma Hayek's actually in the Magic Mike sequel that comes out in a few days?
I didn't know that Magic Mike was getting a sequel.
It's actually the third movie in the series.
Oh, now I know.
I think they're releasing it actually tomorrow for Valentine's Day, or it's on Valentine's Day weekend or whatever.
That was really tough.
What?
Looking at the Xbox store on my Xbox One right now, they when you just go to the games section, it doesn't just show you the stuff that you can play on the one, just shows you the fucking everything. And most of this stuff, especially the stuff that's being advertised, is for the Series X. So I'm sitting there like, shit.
Like Dead Space as an example.
Yes, and
Uh-huh.
Hogwarts Legacy. I'm sitting there like, well, where's the stuff for the actual fucking thing that I'm playing on right now that I can fucking look at? Like, what the fuck? Shut up.
Unmolesto. Whoa, Martian Magazine redid their whole website. It looks totally different. A final place untouched by capitalism. Spice.
Spice. Suppose.
Now, the reason why I said that thing about, and now I know that it's not the case, but you finding Daisy Ridley attractive, Fearless Frog, our old friend, actually has a huge thing for Daisy Ridley.
It makes a lot of sense. If I remember correctly, Frog is Arab.
He's Pakistani, yeah.
I do not know why, but like anyone who lives basically from Syria to, I'd say just a straight line east to like Myanmar, it absolutely worships white women to an extraordinary degree, which is hilarious because the only reason I do that is because I've never interacted with white women.
Well, yeah, I mean
Otherwise,
that's a big reason why Pokimane is so popular because of what you're talking about. Like Indian teenage boys see a white girl with big boobs and just go crazy.
I thought Pokemon was Asian, at least
N-
half Asian.
um, I think she's like Canadian, and I don't believe she's got any Asian in her, but I mean, even if she does, she looks pretty white, I think.
Well, it's sort of like a kind of a Jackie Chan syndrome, where the most popular Asians tend to be ones that have more westernized features.
Mhm,
I bring up Jackie Chan because he had the plastic surgery to make his eyes rounder.
mhm. Yeah.
South Korea is the plastic surgery capital of the world because of exactly the same kind of shit like that, where they want to make themselves look more westernized. And it's kind of strange to me because, like, this is the way that I feel about every ethnicity. I'm like, you should be proud in what makes you uh, you are. Want to change something about yourself, you should do it through hard work, courage, and sacrifice, not surgery.
Okay, Pokimane is Moroccan slash Canadian.
I was way off. Mm.
She's African. Yeah. Okay. I didn't put two and two together there for a second. You're right, Chris. Yeah, Moroccan. Hmm. Probably a big part of Amaranth's popularity as well. Yes, she's
Oh,
attractive, but
yeah, there's no question there because he's extremely and very obviously white. Very pale skin, if I remember right. She either has green or blue eyes, and she's natural redhead. So
what do I think of Aquafina? She kind of looks like Tracy McGrady. She looks like Asian female Tracy McGrady. That's what I think of her.
water.
No, the actress Aquafina. That's her
She
stage
name
name.
herself after the fucking water?
Basically, it's
That
like,
is
yeah,
pathetic.
aqua. It's like awkward. The first half is spelt like awkward, so it's Aquafina.
Ugh. Didn't even know that this person existed until you mentioned her a few seconds ago, but now I want to strangle this bitch.
Don't worry. Your
Oh.
disdain for her is well placed.
Like, the most, but one of the most successful OnlyFans in the world belongs to that one A crazy bitch who did the Cash Me Outside. How
Yeah,
about that?
bad bunny or whatever, bad
She
Barbie.
changed her name to Bad Baby, and it's spelled with H's.
Yeah, I'm. I've seen this.
HADBAJBIE.
The thing is, she's not even attractive. That's the part I
She's
don't
not.
understand.
Again, she's white.
Isn't she
And
kind of?
so
Isn't she like half and half?
she is very white and
Oh, okay.
pretends to be. The
Okay.
pretending is the important part. Now she's a ghetto ass fucking white girl, and she's got that fucking market on lock.
Mhm.
Sad, man. Fucking sad.
Life on fucking easy mode. Imagine
Don't get me
becoming
started there.
Imagine becoming of age and then just immediately doing something that within 5 minutes you never have to work again.
While simultaneously ruining your reputation for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
Like I told you the other day, man. 2 reasons I've got PTSD, and one has significantly outpaced the other in terms of contributing that fucking trauma, the nightmares, the fucking need for therapy. God, I hate my life.
I'm sure Belle Delphine has an OnlyFans. I mean, I think fucking Gabriel Union has an OnlyFans. Like, why does she need a fucking OnlyFans? Like, you've already
Yeah,
got all the money in the world without showing strangers your breasts.
it was because it seems like a good idea if you don't care about that kind of thing, because it's just passive income. You don't really have to do anything. You just it's like any other form of social media, except this time there's a dick in your mouth.
Yeah, but she's married to Dwayne Wade, so like, it's not like she needs the money.
Right. However, Gabby and Wade are kind of infamous in Miami nightlife for basically being swingers.
God.
Yeah. I remember reading an article that Wade's got the herp, and it wasn't Gabby that gave it to him, but he got it after they got together.
Oh, really?
uh,
Wonder if he's ever had gay sex. What do you think?
almost certainly. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that the only fucking member of that fucking Heat team that didn't was probably the one guy that they kept fucking insisting did. Gosh, Ron and
Yeah,
Wade, fucking part of a man train or some shit.
Birdman would never.
I just meant the big three.
Yeah, okay.
There's Haslam. There's no fucking way. There's not a chance in hell. Summers, he'd probably watch, but with that fucking goofy look on his face.
So OnlyFans top 10 earners. Yeah, Bella Thorne is 2. Black China's number 1. Cardi B. Mia Khalifa has an OnlyFans. Bad
It's
Barbie.
utterly fucking pointless that Mia Khalifa has an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Why?
Nico Cotto Avocado has a fucking OnlyFans. It's disgusting.
Oh, Lord, just don't.
What the fuck does he do on it?
Worth noting that while OnlyFans is certainly famous for something, not the only content that's on that platform. Plus, it's certainly not what it was invented for. OnlyFans, when it was originally thought up, was supposed to be like more of a like actual content posting
Yeah,
version of like Patreon.
right.
You'd support somebody, and then they'd be able to social media style upload the stuff that they're actually working on, so you could see directly what your investment's going towards. A bunch of thoughts got together because at the time when OnlyFans first started, before that's where all the traffic shifted to. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was premium snaps that everyone was focused on.
Mhm. Yeah, Instagram now actually has a submodel. You pay like $5 a month to see the special posts.
All
So
you
that's
needed
probably
to do
similar.
for the premium snap was like Venmo or something, some money to some thought who would then accept your invite request on Snapchat. Then just she'd send you your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Nico Cotto Avocado is the mukbang guy, basically. So I can
Yeah,
only
is
imagine what his fucking OnlyFans has. And like it goes beyond that. Like this guy's literally killing himself trying to get views. Like,
it's sad.
yeah.
I think we should probably change the subject, or I'll start drinking. I don't want to think about that Nico guy.
Okay. So anyway, apparently Boogie2988 has an OnlyFans. I wonder what's on
God,
there.
no. Um,
I'm kidding. He doesn't.
I was gonna say like a lot of people who are e-celebrities will just make one because it's funny.
I should make one, I guess.
Nothing in the rules that states it's for adult content, so
Oh yeah.
really you really can put anything that you want on there. It's up to people who want to subscribe to make the decision to subscribe.
I'll just post a picture of the same picture of a potato every day.
You know what I think would be a very unethical but at the same time hilarious business model that could actually work out pretty good?
But
What you could do is be your channel on OnlyFans, your OnlyFans channel, make that the place to subscribe to if you wanted to have plausible deniability for why you have an OnlyFans subscription showing up on your bank statement.
Trevor, I have never played a Destroy
Think
All
about it.
Humans game. Yeah, but
You
yeah, go
have
ahead.
they're kind of boring. Like it's something that seems like a good idea at first. It's like a decent time killer for a few minutes, and then you're like, it's actually boring as fuck. And then you just never played again.
It's hard to make more than $11 on OnlyFans unless you have a massive social media following. Well, I would be doing it as a joke. I wouldn't be like I mean, I wouldn't do it seriously. Like I would do it fully expecting to get like two followers or subs or whatever they're called. Maybe I would do it and make the cost like 1 penny so people would actually sub to it, even though I wouldn't do anything.
Oh, good. It's past midnight. I can schedule my next DoorDash.
Cool, man.
Oh yeah. My pay adjustment for this week is gonna end up being the largest one that I've received since I stopped doing this full time.
Yeah.
Just to underscore how badly I was getting fucked over the last week.
Draco Unofficial, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I went to the casino 2 nights ago. Saturday night. Yeah, Saturday night. It was actually the best night I've had since I started going to the casino again after COVID ended. So that was
Nice.
pretty nice. So I know how it feels. I know that feel. So how about those UFOs? Hmm. I mean, they're
Oh,
almost definitely drones, right? Like,
well, no, number one, that. Number two, this is a big time distraction. Oh, now people are talking about fucking UFOs. Like, seriously? Time some ridiculous horse shit like this ends up being what people are talking about, you always got to ask yourself, okay, what important thing has been happening either immediately right before this or while this is going on that is the actual reason why the public discourse is focusing on something so fucking asinine? Why are we focusing on aliens in the sky instead of aliens at the southern border? And now the channel's been banned.
if it ever happens, guys, just know that
81%.
I'll probably just go back to YouTube. YouTube was shockingly tolerant of our horrible bigotry back in the day, so I think we'd be okay.
Based.
I didn't say aliens, I said UFOs. Yeah, that's true.
Having said everything that I said, um, personal guess is that China is mostly just testing U.S. responses to see what we do. I want to be living in Taiwan right now.
You don't want to be, or you want to be?
Do not want to be.
Hmm. I was about to say it'd be weird if you wanted to.
I don't speak Chinese.
Bing Chiling.
You know what I liked about Doom 3 as a quote unquote horror action game compared to some other horror action games?
But
In Doom 3, when you cleared a room, like the lights just turn on, so you know that they're all gone.
yeah. I haven't played that game in a long time, so I don't remember it too well, but
Having to like fucking run around and be like, God damn it, did I fucking get them all, or is one of them gonna come out and jump me? You're just like, oh yay, they're all dead. The lights are on.
no, this is not blood we're washing off. It's rust, I think. If it's
Um,
blood, then what the fuck happened here?
no, come over to my location pretty quick.
Yeah,
You were really close. Yeah, here you go. You see all this stuff? Like, don't wash it, but this stuff right here, this is graffiti,
yeah.
gang tags, and all that kind of shit. So this is dirt, grime, rust, basically any kind of anything, and then underneath that is many, many years of graffiti and vandalism.
Hmm.
This thing's old because even once it's fully clean, it still looks pretty dingy.
Yeah.
Stuff is like dented and scratched, but that's not dirt. So paying us to wash this fucking thing. Or paint it. They're just paying us to wash it. So they're not paying us to wash this thing. We just showed up one day because we were sick of fucking looking at it. If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Right.
Rome 2,000 years ago built roads that were so good that they're still around today, still usable. In my city, they've repaved the streets around my house 5 times within the last 3 months, and they're still fucking constantly trying to do it. They're not doing it multiple times because it's part of the process. They're doing it multiple times because they keep fucking up and having to start over. Like, guys, why? Jesus Christ! Just
Are they
every time it
hourly?
rains, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. Got to be some kind of government contract. Hey, these guys be milking it like this. I'm like, Jesus.
I just need
1,000 years ago, they built roads that are still around now.
Yeah, at the
You guys
company
can't
that I
fucking make this
currently
last
work
a week.
at, before I got there, they hired people to write their code base and they paid per line of code. So you can guess what
Boy,
happened.
that's a horrible idea in the first place.
Mhm.
Isn't it better to have the least amount of lines possible so that less things could go wrong?
Probably, yeah. The aliens are here for the Krabby Patty formula. Isn't there an episode where the Krabby Patty formula is given away? Like, don't we all know what it is now? It's cough
Yes.
syrup.
Oh, it's a cup of love.
Okay,
There
who's been
was
screwing with the machine?
seriously, no. There was one episode where the secret ingredient was plankton, ground up plankton meat. Funny. It was just a prank on Plankton because he's the only one that's ever trying to steal the fucking formula, so that'd freak him out. Mr. Krabs was all like, "Nah, that's not the real formula. He'll figure that out in a couple of days. He'll be back." It was still pretty funny.
Ravioli, ravioli, give me the formuoli.
Is Crab Leafa.
I'm Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me.
Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name?
I don't know.
Should have said C. I like how he did that fake voice for literally no reason.
Mm-hmm. After class of ugly, ugly children.
It may be hideous, but there's no need to. Man. Yeah, my favorite part about that is that's actually something you would expect would be a legitimate complaint by a teacher nowadays. It's like, God damn it, I got into this line of work for all the sexy. I, I can't finish this.
Well, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy right now, and I'm convinced one of my teachers wants my man meat, so I buy it. That's clearly a thing.
for fuck's sake.
86%. Almost there. Oh, yeah. So apparently, a person in Washington state won the lottery a couple days ago. It was a pretty big one, too. I can't remember how much it was, but it was big.
I
The,
remember.
per- the person who won is 18 years old. It's the first lottery ticket he's ever bought. I feel like he's definitely going to end up like dead and broke in a couple years.
Yes, because that happens to most people who win the lottery. Usually winning the lottery is the worst thing that ever happens to you. That guy's fucked. He's in a lot of trouble. Like
Seven.
the
Okay,
same.
I just looked it up. It's 750 million.
Remember right? That was a recent Powerball victory
Yeah, Powerball.
because those fucking people were buying, and I was like, Jesus Christ! I hope somebody wins because I'm fucking sick to death having this goddamn line over it. And
Yeah, so an 18-year-old kid just got 750 million. Although he's going to take the lump sum, I'll bet, and probably only get half because of taxes.
right. Well, getting the lifelong deferred payment sucks. Also, because it's like fucking you're gonna die before you get all of it.
Yeah. He's definitely going to overdose on coke or something before he turns 25. I agree. Like there's no way.
Well, like what's gonna happen to him is the same exact thing that happens to young athletes. They're at that age, they don't have a clue who is actually in their life because they want to be and who's there to can just take from them, just be a leech and a parasite. And by that age, you don't really have enough sufficient experience of people being shitty to really be ready for what's going to happen. It's like, this guy desperately needs a life coach. The point is, he's not going to be able to trust anybody that he meets from this day forward. I feel bad for the guy. He's probably going to be dead pretty soon. Hey, World War III is going to start any minute, so we're all going to be dead pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm looking for the story now. I can't find it, but we were talking about it at the casino because the story came out right before I sat down at the table on Saturday night. And apparently somebody said apparently he doesn't have parents, which probably
More.
just makes everything worse. Like his parents are dead or something.
This is starting to sound a little ridiculous. An 18-year-old orphan wins the lottery with the first ticket he's ever purchased.
We'll see if that part of the story ends up being true.
Sounds like a rough draft for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, man. Ugh. Okay. 90% is imminent.
My favorite part about this game is that it always makes my arthritis kick in.
All right, 90%. Let's go. '91. We are so close, people. There was a movie that someone made. I can't remember what it was called. It was about a guy who bought a lottery ticket on Friday night, won the lottery, but then had to like hide the ticket for 3 days to wait for the store to open so he could go claim it. I think it was a pretty shitty movie, but I remember it exists. Can't remember what it's called. Can't remember what ends up happening, but okay. Almost done. By the way, do you actually have arthritis or were you just being facetious when you said that?
I'm like 99% sure that I have carpal tunnel syndrome in my right hand. Just whatever.
Feel like pretty much anybody who's on the computer a lot is going to develop that eventually.
Yeah, it fucking hurts. It's like I was describing what I go through to my mom earlier last year. Because that was my second to last semester in college. I was working really hard on something, and I was like, my fucking wrist is killing me. So I was asking her for some help in describing. She's like, sweetheart, you have arthritis. I was like, what? I'm 30. What the hell are you talking about? She's like, well, that's basically what carpal tunnel syndrome is, and you know how worse, you know, it's arthritis and all this shit. So,
Hmm.
oh, great.
Go get ibuprofen, I guess. That's all I got. Pick up some ibuprofen.
Eh, excruciating pain, to be honest.
Right. I mean, I guess that kind of almost proves the whole pointlessness of playing the lottery. Like, think about the astronomical odds that I happen to live like half an hour away from the guy who won the Powerball. Like, even that feels like an insurmountable, amazing thing. That the fact that the guy is within 10 miles of me. And then you think about how much further you have to go to actually win it. You actually start thinking about the odds of anything happening. It's just like, why would I ever play this game?
Have a gambling problem.
Some people,
Everybody I see buying lottery tickets, the vast majority of them, serious fucking gambling addiction.
they do sometimes call the lottery like the idiot tax. I have known people who refer to the lottery as the idiot tax. Yeah, exactly. You'd have much better odds going to the casino and putting it on red.
I remember the other day at work, some fucking crackhead was trying to explain his flawless system to us for the scratch off lottery ticket wins. My coworker was just smiling and nodding and all that shit. And as soon as the guy leaves, he's all like, "Your fucking system doesn't work, dumbass. If your system worked, it'd be a full-time job. You wouldn't be able to fucking do it because other people would be doing it to make money. If people ever figure this fucking shit out, you wouldn't be the one making money off it, dude."
Well, there was that movie last year, the one with Bryan Cranston, about them actually finding a flaw in the system that they exploited. But yeah, that was probably a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, like my dad will buy lottery tickets every now and then. When it gets up really high, he'll buy like one. He never buys like scratchers though. He's not messing around with like the little stuff. He's like, maybe it's my turn, and if it's my turn, I want it to count for a lot. And if you can afford it, I guess that's okay. But like, it's like that Malcolm in the Middle episode when Francis and his wife have run out of money and they only have like $7 left and they're at a gas station and they're trying to figure out what to do and he's like, okay, go buy lottery tickets. This is the time when you finally win the lottery when you need it the most. And then she like smacks him and is like, no, I'm gonna buy food, you fucking idiot. Remember that scene early in The Dark Knight when the criminal guy's like, "Oh, come on, you got a better chance of winning the Powerball than running into Batman."
Hmm.
It's like I very much doubt that's true.
Yeah, it's actually fairly accurate on account of the fact that some people have a much better chance than others. Running around Gotham wearing a mask and robbing banks, and definitely gonna end up meeting Batman. If your last name ended in Stein or Berg, you probably. Oh, never mind.
I understand the people who will buy like one or two tickets. Like that's fine. That's whatever. I don't have any real problem with that. Like especially if you have enough money to wear that, couple of dollars doesn't mean anything to you. What I don't understand are the people who will literally wait for it to get high and then they buy like 300 tickets.
Yeah, don't even get me started on those fucking people. Because, like, that's the sad thing is a lot of people who, they treat it like the stock market in the sense that if they ever win anything, they just roll it forward straight into more lottery tickets.
Hmm.
Saw a guy once, he came in, he cashed out 500 some dollars in lottery tickets. I was like, well, congratulations, but dude, I don't have that much in my fucking cash register to cash you out. He was like, oh, don't worry, I'm just going to buy a bunch of more tickets. I was like, I'm sorry, what? It's all like, yeah, you don't need to worry about cashing me out because I'm just going to buy however much that is worth of more lottery tickets. I was like, are you stupid?
Well, I mean, it's more money for the company that you're working for, I guess.
I don't see a fucking dime of that shit. So I'm like, why would you do that? Some people are just retarded.
Yeah. They sit in front of the TV with like 200 tickets splayed out on a table in front of them.
Gradually, I began to hate them.
I mean, they do say that if you were to basically take everybody in the world and reset them to all the exact same level of wealth, like reset everybody to some set level of wealth, pretty quickly the people who are rich would end up rich again and the people who are poor would end up poor again. And that's why. Part of the reason why.
Okay. Let me check the thing. Lower basin wall. Fuck. There it is. All that's left now is upper basin shit. Good, that's what we needed.
Do you have to individually print out all $500 worth of lottery tickets when somebody does that?
It depends entirely on which lottery you're talking about, because there's a maximum of 10 uh, selections, so rows per ticket.
Hmm.
So if you're talking about the Super Lotto, in California is $1 per ticket, but the Powerball and the Mega Millions, which are nationwide, it's $2 a ticket. So that would be maximum of for the Super Lotto $10 per ticket. So you'd have to fucking print out 50 fucking tickets if they're getting $500 for the Super Lotto. But if it was $20 a ticket, then you'd only have to print out 200 or 25.
But you still have
That
to
should be
stand there
right.
and
Yeah.
print out all that shit while everyone else is just waiting.
Yes, that's exactly correct, which is why I love it when my coworker's on their fucking lunch, so I'm the only person who's there, and I'm the only register that's open, and then here comes some fucking cocksucker. Hey, I need you to give me $8,000 worth of fucking. I'm like, God damn it, I'm gonna be fucking sitting here dealing with this shit for the next 13 minutes while I've got a line from the fucking back of the store. God,
Yeah,
I fucking hate those people.
I
And
can't
I'm
believe.
like, hey, you just hand me your fucking money, and I'll tell you, you're not gonna fucking win anything anyway.
I mean, I can't believe they haven't found a way to automate that process to where they don't need somebody standing there printing out every single goddamn ticket.
Well, that's the thing. If they had, then there wouldn't be a need for me. Shucks. Then I'd be the one getting welfare so that I could buy fucking lottery tickets with it.
You'd be getting neat bucks.
Hell yeah.
AG, wagey, get in KG.
Oh, sweat.
Okay.
One left.
It's not up here, is it? No.
I found it.
All right. We did it.
Thank God.
All right, guys. That was the gnome fountain. I'd say we did pretty good.
It was the worst thing ever made by a human.
Guys, thanks for coming out and hanging out with me. I'm going to turn the stream off. See you guys in the morning. And thanks for stopping by. See you guys, well, later today.